Many players have mixed feelings about Silent Hill F. Some say the combat feels inconsistent or divisive, but to stop there would be missing the point. Beneath its gameplay lies a story that honors the psychological and symbolic DNA of Silent Hill while weaving it through unmistakably Japanese lens of folklore, faith, and trauma. This is a game that rewards interpretation where every journal entry, ritual, and moments of silence adds another layer to its haunting narrative, and I'll be showing how much there is to unpack from every angle. At the center of Silent Hill F stands Hinako Shimizu, a young woman trapped between tradition and selfhood. Her story is rooted in the social expectations of 1960s post-war Japan, where marriage wasn't merely about love, but about family transactions. A daughter's wedding could mean her disappearance from her home, her friends, and her identity, as she becomes absorbed into her husband's household. To her friends Sakuko and Rinko, Hinako's marriage is a death of sorts. She promised to never leave, and now she is gone, erased by the customs that claim to honor her. But Hinako resists this destiny. She doesn't want to be reduced to an object exchanged between families. Her writings constantly reference to the idea of self-awareness, to think with a calm mind and a clear heart. She seeks to define herself and not to be defined by others. What truly terrifies her isn't marriage itself, but what it symbolizes, the quiet suffocation of individuality. The recurring bridal imagery isn't romantic, it's horrifying. Hinako's transformation into a grotesque parasitic bride who consumes everything around her is a living metaphor for the death of selfhood. The ceremony that should unite two souls instead demands she destroy parts of herself and those she loves. It's a ritualized annihilation of identity. Her defiance then isn't selfishness, it's survival. Hinako's rebellion is the desperate act of someone refusing to be erased by social duty, family obligation, and illusion of purity. Hinako doesn't want to disappear into a role that erases her identity. She wants to remain an individual in a world that insists on defining her only as a daughter, a wife, or a vessel of tradition. One of Silent Hill F's greatest strength lies in its human characters. Each one carries a wound, not always from cruelty, but often from silence, misunderstanding, and unmet love. Hinako's father is strict, domineering, and emotionally harsh, yet his cruelty comes from desperation. The family physician's log reveals that he sank into debts to pay for his wife's surgery. His need to appear strong morphs into control, showing how patriarchal pressure and shame can mutate into generational abuse. While Hinako's mother remains quiet and submissive, she rarely challenges him, but her silence inflicts its own damage. She is a reflection of resignation, someone crushed by duty, and yet her understanding of her husband's pain shows that even in the most broken of relationships, empathy can still flicker in the dark. Shu is Hinako's childhood friend who embodies immature love. His devotion masks a lack of respect for Hinako's autonomy. His affection curdles into possession. He loves her image, not her will. But Kuroyuki, the heir to the Tsuneki family, represents how marriage could become a political exchange, a tool to merge power, not hearts. His reappearance in Hinako's life is both a reunion and a transaction, reinforcing her lack of agency, while Sakuko, neurodivergent and isolated, clings to Hinako as her emotional anchor. When Hinako leaves through marriage, Sakuko sees this as abandonment, a betrayal she cannot emotionally process, and her grief manifests as anger, not hatred, because she always said they'd do everything together. They'd get boyfriends together, even get married together, but she later realized that those were selfish dreams of a child. And she also realized that just because Hinako was moving faster didn't mean this was an act of betrayal. But in her journals, she later admits and realizes that she was jealous and could not admit it, and apologizes to Hinako for calling her a traitor. While Sakuko was introverted, Rinako was the opposite, outwardly composed and confident. hides deep insecurity, but her diary reveals how much of her perfection was an act of facade to mask her fear of rejection. Each of these characters add a thread to Hinako's unraveling, a tapestry of guilt, love, envy, and dependency that defines the game's emotional weight. Unlike previous Silent Hill entries, Silent Hill F doesn't use its town as a foggy backdrop. Ebisu itself is a living myth. Every belief, every shrine, every legend in its soil is layered with centuries of reinterpretation. And an example of the earliest faith was the water dragon cult, which arose from a real phenomenon of poisonous gases and geyser erupting from underground. Unable to explain it, the villagers turned it into a myth, and they claimed that it was a dragon spewing venom from beneath the earth. This belief became a way to survive the chaos they had found themselves in, and this was their own story to explain the suffering. Centuries later, faith shifted to the divine tree after a masked monk proclaimed that the massive cedar tree had absorbed the dragon's poison. The people turned from worshipping the dragon to worshipping the divine tree, a shift from fear to preservation. This faith evolved again into Tsukumogami, the belief that broken tools held spirits. They later merged it with Inari worship, where offerings were made to fox deities. By Hinako's era, few remembered the original dragon or the cedar tree. Only fragments remained, which were fused into new customs. Even Sakuko explains that long ago, a 1,000-year cedar tree was worshipped as divine, but when it burned to ashes, the shrine lost its god, and so the people turned to the next oldest thing, a moss-covered Inari statue. Ebisu's religion is not about truth, it's about survival through reinterpretation. Every deity is born from the ashes of another. The town's faith mirrors its trauma, consistently reinventing itself to endure. And by the end of the game, the fate of Ebisu depends on which belief the people sustain. Without faith, the town dies, and your progression is not about one god being right and the other being wrong. It is about how faith fractures and reforms, how memory is reinterpreted until the original meaning is lost. Without belief, there is no protection, and the land reverts to being uninhabitable. A prime example of this is the belief the people of Ebisu have in the tale of the water dragon sealed on the ground by Inari-sama himself. They believe if they lose faith, they may face its wrath once more. The horrors of Ebisu itself isn't that its myths are false, it's that they keep evolving, burying the truth deeper each time. If Silent Hill 2 explored how guilt shapes our reality, Silent Hill F asks what happens when identity dissolves, when you're defined entirely by family, tradition, or collective memory. It's a story about the violence of expectations, about the loss of individuality in the name of belonging, and about how faith and love and culture can both sustain and destroy. Like every great Silent Hill story, the monsters are not the true horror. The real terror lies in the quiet moments, in the things we do to survive our past, and the roles we are told to play. Please, if you enjoyed this video, kindly hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell icon so you can get notified when I post new videos like this, as I am desperately trying to hit 1K subscribers by the end of this year. And before I forget, kindly check out my friend Emmer, who does gaming analysis video with the sweetest voice on the entirety of YouTube. And until next time, peace and love.
Incredible.